So whenever we talk about the IELTS reading, right, and that too, the academic one, the general one is different and academic one is different, right? Whenever we talk about the reading, it is a 60 minutes of task and you will be given 40 questions. Now, 1 point for each right answer, and this is how the calculation of your total 9 bands are going to be done. Right now, if I talk about the bifurcation, the category, the parts of the test, reading academic is divided into three sections, right? Part one, part two, and part three, right? One common point, always remember that part one is going to have question 1 to 14, right? Part two is going to have questions 15 to 28. And part three is going to have questions starting from 29 to 40. 1, 2 number of question can get changed, but precisely more likely the sections are given in this modern only, right? Now, when I talk about the difficulties and the challenges, right? So always remember one thing very clearly, that whether it is part one, right? Whether it is part two, whether it is part three, in all the three parts, the same content is going to be given. Now, when I'm saying the content, I'm not talking about the topic, I'm talking about the pattern of the passages. The content, information, passages, paragraphs will always be given as academic passages.
Okay.
That means you are never going to get any passage, any part which is related to your daily life, basic life, your near about life. You are always going to get some technical
Okay.
topic. Now, technical topic, when I talk about, it can be, it can be ecosystem, it can be anthropology, it can be oncology, it can be any, it can be business, it can be management, it can be financial trainings, whatever the topic is, but the topic is going to be the academic only, right? Now, the second point, obviously not every candidate can have a range of knowledge on all the topics. You might be a student from the science background, so you will be comfortable in the information given, but you might not be comfortable with the accounts department, accounts topics, the non-science
Yeah.
topics, right? But you have to follow one idea. You're not going to get any answer on the basis of your knowledge. However, you are supposed to answer every question on the basis of the information given in the paragraphs. All the three parts are going to have
Okay.
different topics altogether. So let's suppose if one topic is from science, not necessarily the part 2 and part 3 are also going to be from science. It can have any range, right? Now, when I talk about the passages are majorly taken from the research journals, the books, the fact and figures. You are not going to get
Okay.
any fictional content here, and you're not going to get anything which is not relatively believable. So you are going to get the content which is absolutely coming from the research journals, right? Third point, the difficulty level of the particular part will be increasing. So part one is going to be the easiest one. Part two is going to be difficult than part one. And part three is going to be the most difficult part of the reading. Out of 40, if you manage to get 35 enough, 35 points, then your scores are definitely going to jump from 7. Right? Now, it is not possible for a
Okay.
human brain to contain and manage the same level of understanding, calmness, composed ideas in the mind. Right? So you have to play with a smart trick here, that part one and part two, try to get the maximum correct answers. Part one and part two. So
Oh,
that clearly 28 points you can
True.
secure, right? And then the
Hmm.
third one, that is the third part, 29 to 40 out of 11. Definitely there are going to be certain question which must be very confusing. There are definitely going to be certain question which you won't be able to find the answers of, but that is okay. But make sure that you are preparing the and appearing in the test in a way that part 1 and part 2 should have the maximum correct answer. Now, talking about the distribution of the 60 minutes, right? How you are going to distribute the time? Make sure that in the part 1, you are able to get the answer maximum in 10 minutes. So you are supposed to,
Okay.
yes, you're supposed to spend only 10 minutes here, right? Now, when I talk about the part 2, then part 2, you can afford to have 15 to 20 minutes,
Hmm.
right? You are going to spend how much time? You're going to spend only
15 to
15 to
20,
20 minutes.
20
Now,
minutes.
remaining half an hour, the remaining half an hour should be dedicated to the part 3 because this is going to be the most challenging one, right? So here your time spent should be 20 to 25 minutes,
Fine.
right? Now most of the students, they commit this mistake that while covering the part 1, they spend good 20-25 minutes,
Hmm.
and then it become the fall short of time. You don't have to do this during the daily practice, self practice session also. You have to follow in the same way, that you have to give only 10 minutes, keep a timer with you, and be
Hmm.
able to get the answers in 10 minutes for the entire part 1.
Hmm.
Now when you're self practicing, give only 15 to 20 minutes for the part 2, right? And part 3, you're going to give 20 to 25 minutes, still you will be having 5 minutes in hand,
In hand.
right? So that you can check over the spellings, you can check over the grammatical range, you can check over the clarity and cross checking of certain question where you must be having any doubt, right? So this is how the time management should be done, not only during appearing of the final tests, no, however, this time frame and time management should be followed by a candidate during the self practice as well. Clear? This is how
Yeah.
the structure of the reading is designed for the IELTS academic reading.
Okay.
Clear?